Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
All right, good morning and welcome to the show. It's the final installment for the week, Sports Spring, on the Western Spring Television, where we give you stories making headlines in the ever-busy world of sports. My name is Joseph ATEWEH, and I'm saying welcome once again. A big weekend awaits us from the NPFL to some of the big leagues in Europe.
And I am NENGI ADEMOLA. Thanks for joining us on the very last edition for this week on Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. And definitely we're starting off with giving you information and updates coming up from the local scene and giving you fixtures from the Nigerian Premier Football League. Recall that it started last week, Saturday, and of course we had a very bumper package to expect from them. And some of the clubs did live up to the billing. And this weekend, of course, a big weekend awaits us because the likes of Enyimba FC Joseph, the likes of Bendel Insurance, and I think Ramos Stars, you know, they missed out on the match day 1 fixture, and they definitely stand for this weekend. And of course, on Saturday in the NPFL match day 2 schedule, by 4 p.m. would have Bendel Insurance take on Shooting Stars. Joseph, Shooting Stars were at their very best in the very first match of the season.
Well, at the very best, you say, but when it comes to analyzing league matches, except if it's a well-established league like the top five leagues rather in Europe, where you know that these teams, it's a tradition, they remain in the league no matter what at the end of the season. It depends on who wins. But when it comes to the Nigerian Premier Football League, it's very, very difficult to analyze because one will wonder why Nassau United is going down, even after winning the league the previous season. So, but the only Warriors have done well. Shooting Stars of Accra, I beg your pardon, have done really well, you know, winning their first game and going into match day 2.
Exactly.
We expect to see, yes, if they can get the win.
This time around against Bendel Insurance FC, who has been very phenomenal all throughout last season, broke the record of the longest unbeaten run in their Bridge League, got to represent themselves and, of course, the NPFL and Nigeria as a whole on the continent. And don't you think that their outstar against RS Bekin would, you know, further motivate them in the NPFL just to focus on everything concerning the NPFL this season?
Okay, you know, for Bendel Insurance now, I feel like they've grown from last season. Yeah. Going into this season, don't forget last season, the media also said they just wanted to win the league. In the league, yeah. But then they did more than that. And the problem they might have, which they also did in the first leg, and the reason why they probably crashed out of the continental competition will be selling their striker. These things sometimes affect clubs like...
Even when their striker was there, you know, they had that problem with finishing.
It was at the latter part of the whole season that they had that problem with finishing. But as I said, it's too young to judge. And if it's something they work on, getting strikers that can convert chances, then it's good for them.
I think I've watched Bendel Insurance for over 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken right there with my calculation. And they've always had this problem. When it comes to finishing, no matter the kind of top striker they have in that particular place, you know, it's never enough for them. Most times they're in form, most times they're out of form, most times especially they're out of form. But let's see what Bendel Insurance can be able to do in terms of chance creation. Like I would always say, they're very good at it. But then putting finishing touches to that, would see how things pans out to be. 4 p.m.
All right, but just to bring back this analysis, if they've had issues most time converting, they probably won't make it to the Super 6. So maybe I slightly disagree that
that's why they always end up in a draw. That's my main point for it. In terms of finishing, they're very poor, to be honest.
Okay. Well, wait and see what pans out then.
Exactly. By 4 p.m. on Saturday, Bendel Insurance takes on Shooting Stars. Still by 4 p.m., Doma United take on Bielsa United. Bielsa United are, I think, they're first on the log after the match day 1, where they defeated their counterparts 5 goals to 3. And Bielsa United definitely shining. Robert Mizo also coming in handy for them. Let's see if they can do the same feat against Doma United. Doma United, do not forget that at the bottom of the table just at the start of the campaign. Another match again for Saturday would be Kano Pillars against Katsina United. And the party also continues on Sunday. Joseph, let's see if we can get that fixture those fixtures rather for on Sunday. Okay, ATEWEH United against Sporting Lagos. Sporting Lagos, of course, on the NPFL table after match day 1 stands second. They defeated Gombe United. Let's see what they can do against ATEWEH United. Gombe United, of course, coming up from a defeat, Joseph. This time around, they take on ATEWEH FC.
A tough game for Gombe United because ATEWEH, you know what they've done so far with the club, having a new general manager, having new legs at the club, and what they did on the continent last season, even in the Super 6. ATEWEH has proven to be that stubborn, and the club that's always ready in the Nigeria Premier Football League to go anytime, any day. They're like the Liverpool or Manchester City of the Nigeria Premier Football League. They never get relegated, and they always prove a point every season. So it's a tough one for the newbie in Gombe United against ATEWEH.
Well, just to conclude on the NPFL fixtures for this weekend, Kwara United will take on Abia Warriors, Lobby Stars against Sunshine Stars, Niger Tornadoes against Rivers United FC, Plateau United against Heartland Owerri, Rami Stars against Enugu Rangers. Of course, the game between Niger Tornadoes and Rivers United FC is one match you wouldn't want to miss during the weekend.
All right, away from that, let's talk female football. We know that the NWFL has gotten a kick-off date, Nengi.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into details as it concerns that. The organizers of the Nigerian Women Football League has announced the official kick-off date for the 2023 and 2024 season. The league body held its annual general meeting in Lagos on Thursday, that was yesterday, and announced November 15th as the kick-off date of the league. They also confirmed the promotion of Ekiti Queens and Sunshine Queens to the elite division. And what we have right now is 16 teams. 16 teams will now play in the league, and they have been divided into 2 groups of 8. For Group A, we have Nasarawa Amazons, Heartland Queens, Confluence Queens, of course, are the basic names you have whenever it comes to the NWFL. We also have ADEMOLA Queens, Danas Ladies, of course, making their debut in this particular group, Niger Rattles, Royal Queens, and Abia Angels. That's for Group A. But in Group B, the remaining 8 teams, we have Remy Stars Ladies, who are also new in the Nigerian Women Football League for the 2023 and 2024 season. We have Rivers Angels, Sunshine Queens, Robo Queens, Edo Queens, Bayelsa Queens, Ekiti Queens, and Delta Queens. Joseph, do you see Ekiti Queens standing a chance in Group B? Because we have Rivers, Sunshine, Robo Queens, Edo Queens, and Bayelsa Queens, not leaving out Delta Queens.
I think the organizers of that league and those teams participating knows very well that they're coming to that league not to make any significant impact,
but just to
showcase themselves. And for the players, is a way of exposing themselves. You and I know that the bulk of the Super Falcons, the Falconets, been discovered for many of these teams like Rivers Angels and Edo Queens. So I do not say Ekiti Queens, or what do you call them?
Ekiti Queens,
well, they might cause an upset during the course of the season, but not against the big girls.
Exactly, not against the big girls.
All right, let's move on with more stories. This is the Confederation of African Football CAF. Yesterday began its countdown to the Africa's biggest event, the Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations, holding in Cote d'Ivoire next year. The 2023 AFCON will bring together Africa's top football stars from January 13 to February 11, with yesterday making exactly 100 days to the kickoff. Excitement to the biggest event on African soil has reached a feverish pitch, with the Ivorian nation eagerly anticipating welcoming the 24 national teams as well as the rest of Africa to the shores of the 34th edition of the CAF African Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles of Nigeria is among the 24 teams that will do battle at the 2023-2024 African Cup of Nations.
Well, that's the update coming from that. Now let's move further and give you updates coming from the 2030 World Cup. Remember, we've been talking about this because this particular information has been making the rounds. It has been reported across all dailies, and definitely we need to talk about it. But update that followed up yesterday was the fact that Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay will all be given automatic qualifying spots for the 2030 World Cup for hosting the 3 opening games of the tournament. FIFA confirmed this yesterday. Now, World Football's governing body announced on Wednesday that Morocco, Portugal, and Spain will jointly host the 2030 showpiece, where the opening games will be played in Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay to celebrate the tournament's centenary. And Joseph, as at this point in time, it's causing a whole lot of back and forth because definitely, just like you said the other day, that there is nothing FIFA stands to do that would not get, backlash, would not get either destructive or constructive criticism.
But it's a normal thing that when you're hosting a competition, you qualify automatically. Ivory Coast do not go through the process there.
But I mean, 6 whole countries.
Yes, of course, that's the beauty. That's why they're hosting. They're also spending resources. They're spending their money. They're hosting you, so it's automatic. It's a laid down rule. So I really don't find that as a contest from anyone.
But how about the fact that, you know, for 2026, it's just going to be 3 countries: Canada, Mexico, and what's the name now? USA. Why don't they, you know, just chill and see how these 3 countries go? And, you know, I know that the world has moved past, you know, where just one country would want to host a big tournament such as the FIFA World Cup. But then again, they haven't seen how those 3 countries will fare at the end of the day, and making it 6 in 2030.
They've seen how 2 did the female women's, the FIFA Women's World Cup, and it was successful. And the 3 nations you're talking about, these are powerhouses. These are countries that are ever ready. These are countries where things work smoothly. These are countries where even if you say you want to host the World Cup next tomorrow, they are ready. So there is no point. If it was Nigeria, Benin, and Ghana, you might have problem. But we're saying the US, Canada, Mexico, these guys are ready anytime, any day. Look at the leagues, they run it perfectly. So CAF knows what they're doing, and it will be an improve from that. After that, they have 4 more years before they get into 6 countries. And look at the 6 countries. Morocco has improved, Portugal, Argentina. So I really don't see it automatic qualification for them because they are co-hosting. So are we saying 3 countries out of 3? Should they go through the process? If they go through the process, I can bet you that 1 or 2 countries will drop. And if they drop, so what does the fans out there look forward to? What's the beauty of hosting the competition? So it's automatic. They're hosting, they're co-hosting. They have to go in.
Well, for me, I think there's going to be a whole lot of spectacle attached to the 2030 World Cup. Aside from that, a whole lot of tourist work when it comes to that, because you're traveling from one zone, you know, to the other. But moving away from that one and still sticking with FIFA updates, we understand that World Soccer ruling body has appointed Swedish official Matthias Grafström as the replacement for the outgoing Fatma Samora, according to reports. Now, Senegal's Samora had been due to leave a role as Secretary General at the end of the year, having been appointed by current President and International Olympic Committee member Gianni Infantino in 2016 to succeed the disgraced German-Swiss dual national Markus Kathner. Now, FIFA held its Congress on Wednesday where the decision was ratified. And Grafström, who is now to replace Fatma Samora, has a legal background, and is viewed as an ally of Infantino, initially joining FIFA as Deputy Director of its legal division in 2016, following the election of the Swiss official to succeed his disgraced compatriot, Sepp Blatter. He had been widely tipped as Samora's successor when her departure was announced in June.
And away from that, Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has said the heads will roll in the State Sports Council over the poor kitting and bad treatment meted to the athletes who participated in the 7th National Youth Games in Asaba Delta State. Oyebanji would describe the turn of events at the Games where the Ekiti athletes were poorly kitted as an embarrassment to the athletes, their parents, the state and Ekiti people at home and abroad. It's a record that Ekiti State athletes were poorly kitted during the opening match passed for the event, an embarrassing situation which went viral on social media and attracted criticism. The governor spoke while receiving the Ekiti athletes and their coaches on Wednesday. The athletes, described as Ekiti ambassadors, won a total of 7 medals, comprising 2 gold medals, 2 silver, and 3 bronze medals at the Games. Addressing the athletes, Oyebanji said, and I quote, "I apologize for the inappropriate behavior of the officials of the council. As a government, we tried to provide you, but the officials behaved inappropriately for reasons best known to them."
And of course, still giving you updates in the world of unlimited sports. Let me take you guys into tennis, as it concerns a very pronounced name when it comes to table tennis, and that's none other than Aruna Quadri. Now, African tennis champion Aruna Quadri has made a big money move to join Saudi Arabia's side, Khalij Table Tennis Club. The tennis icon will now be playing in Saudi Arabia for Khalij Table Tennis Club, and in the past, the African champion had played in Portugal, Germany, and Russian leagues, respectively, but Saudi Arabia came calling, and without thinking much, he joined the oil-rich country's table tennis club. Well, congratulations to him, but we also understand that last month, Quadri successfully retained his title in the men's single of the 2023 ITTF African Championship after beating Ahmed Saleh of Egypt in the final match in Tunisia.
And still talking about the sports, West African Trophy tour, the Yellow Greens have secured the victory. And that is what it means when it comes to cricket. The Yellow Greens secured yet another victory.
Exactly. And congratulations to them. They first of all secured a victory against Rwanda. That was their first win from the West African Trophy tour. But then again, we have more details as it concerns that. Now, the Nigerian national cricket team, Yellow Greens, continued their dominant performance in the ongoing West African Trophy tour with a second consecutive win on Thursday. The tournament kicked off on Wednesday with Yellow Greens beating Rwanda by 54 runs in the opening game of the competition. They faced their counterparts from Sierra Leone on Thursday, which was yesterday, and got another emphatic victory. Despite a strong display by the Sierra Leoneans, the Nigerian side stood tall in the game to record a 63-run win.
And talking basketball here, the draws for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games have been released, and it to be a tax for Nigeria's D Tigers as they were handed a tougher position. The Nigerian side are qualified for the qualifying tournament after they emerged as champions of the Women's Afro Basketball Championship. The reigning African champions were drawn against Senegal, Belgium, and current world champions, the United States. The draws, which took place in Hungary on Thursday, had D Tigers drawn in Tournament 2, which will be held in Antwerp, Belgium, from the 8th of February 2024. The FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament will be held from the 8th of February to the 11th, 2024 in 4 cities, namely Antwerp, Belgium, Belém, Brazil, Sopron in Hungary, and a city to be confirmed in China.
Well, all the best to the Tigresses of Nigeria. Definitely, they've been able to do us proud when it comes to continental basketball. And this time around, it's the Olympic qualifiers for 2024. So we wish them all the best. Now, yesterday, big games were played yesterday. And, you know, it turns out to be that Liverpool has gone past the, you know, arguments about the VAR issue that surrounded them last weekend between Tottenham Hotspur and, of course, Liverpool. And definitely, they didn't make it count yesterday against their opponents. And, of course, let's go see some highlights of the game. We'll be right back.